Good morning, students of the Lafayette School Corporation. My name is Mark Roberts. I'm the School Resource Officer for the Lafayette Police Department. During these troubling times, I wanted to come to you with a book that I chose to read since we can't currently be together. And I chose this book and wanted to read it to you guys, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. The book I chose today is A Great Joke on Jimmy Skunk. This is Jimmy's friend. A great joke on Jimmy Skunk. Liberty lip, away we go, away we go, away we go. Liberty lip, away we go across the white and shiny snow. Liberty lip in coats of white and coats of white and coats of white. Liberty lip in coats of white, we hide away when plain in sight. Peter Rabbit and his big cousin Jumper the Hare were humming this together as they were scampering through the green forest, which wasn't green at all now, but beautifully white with snow. Peter Rabbit felt very big and important as he hopped along close behind his big cousin, but all the time his heart was beating a wee bit faster than usual, and once in a while a funny little choky feeling would come into his throat and he would swallow hard. You see, Peter had a brand new coat of pure white, and Jumper the Hare, who had a coat just like it, was going to show Peter how this beautiful white coat would keep him safe as well as warm. Right down inside, Peter felt sure that he was going to have some adventures, and that it was why he had that weird choky feeling as he scampered along in the moonlight. Pretty soon, Jumper sat up very straight and put a hand to his lips. Peter knew that this was a sign to keep very still. In a minute, Peter saw Jimmy Skunk ambling along and talking to himself. Jumper the Hare looked to see what way Jimmy Skunk was going, and then what to think that he did. Why, he stole out and squatted all humped up right in Jimmy's path. Jumper laid his long ears flat on his shoulders, and then he didn't move so much as an eye winker. Up came Jimmy Skunk and glanced at that white heap in front of him. Then he turned out to go around it, all of time muttering to himself, "It's bad enough to cover everything up with this white stuff without piling it up in front of a fellow when he goes out for a walk," grumbled Jimmy Skunk. "It's too bad about you, Jimmy," said Jumper the Hare, suddenly sitting up straight. Jimmy Skunk was so surprised and so startled that he stuttered when he tried to speak. What do you mean by trying to frighten people to death?" he demanded crossly, "for you know it often makes people cross to be frightened." "I don't see what you were frightened for. I was sitting right in plain sight all the time," replied Jumper the Hare. Jimmy the Skunk looked as if he felt foolish, but now that he had gotten over his scare, he began to see the joke. "The fact is, Jumper, I did see you, and yet I didn't see you. I thought you were a little hair of snow, while that one over by that pine tree," said Jimmy. "Ha ha ha, so I was," laughed Jumper the Hare. "Ho ho ho, so he was," shouted the little heap of snow over by the pine tree, and Peter Rabbit sat up so that he could better hold his sides while he laughed at Jimmy Skunk. At first, Jimmy Skunk's eyes looked as if they would pop right out of his head, and then, because really he is a very good-natured little fellow, he began to laugh too. Suddenly, he grew very somber and began to creep very slowly over toward a white mound made by a little bush covered with snow. When he was close to it, he suddenly shouted, "Boo! What did you do to that?" demanded Peter Rabbit. "Just to make sure that it wouldn't suddenly get up and laugh at me," he replied Jimmy Skunk with a twinkle in his eyes. The end. Boys and girls, hopefully you enjoyed this story. And again, please make sure on break you're being cautious, you wash your hands, and you're keeping your social distance.